welcome everybody to this week's World of Tanks subscriber replays. My name is Maxwell and today's first video is from the user Banana1728. That's Banana1728. And he's driving the T-29 on an encounter battle on the Siegfried line. And the T-29 being the Tier 7 heavy tank for the Americans, and obviously being one of my favourite tanks in World of Tanks. Well, not obviously, but anybody who's watched me for any amount of time will know that it's one of my favourites. So spots out an early 30-01 thanks to the scouting of his ally there. And then they are able to take out the 30-01 pretty damn quickly, although it looks like the Lux has given up his life. But they still have another scout, that M5A1 Stewart, the Chinese version of that. So this being an encounter battle, both teams are going to be heading into the town from this lower flank here. Going to be taking up a position behind this wall and going to see who they can spot pushing their way early on through the town. See if they can get some early damage on some of them. So not spotting anybody out as of yet. Now a friend here, Banana, just going to be leading the charge. Going to see if he can catch this Jagdpanther unawares. Hopefully he's going to be looking at somebody else. And he's going to be able to get some free damage through his side armour. Although it looks like... oh, he's in fact looking the opposite direction. So he can still get some good free damage through the side of that Jagdpanther. Going to wait for his gun to reload, position himself in a angled position just so he can side scrape any shots there. Had a shot at the Churchill one, but unfortunately missed that one as he had dropped down below the horizon and behind that rubble. So his platoon mate there and the other T-29 comes up to support, so they decide to push on further. T-29 getting a little bit too aggressive there, probably didn't realise how many enemies there were around this corner, but he's probably well aware now that he's outmanned and outgunned. Going to take a bit more damage in his face. Going to see if he can get around the corner and get a good shot straight through his front plate there, getting another good bit of damage on him. So the team's working pretty well together at the moment. As you can see, the KV-1S is also moving up there. They've got a Churchill 1 pinned behind the rubble on the left-hand side, and another Churchill Mark 1 on the right-hand side here. Takes a little bit of damage to his tracks, but it's nothing serious, so he's just going to move out, knowing that Churchill 1 won't be able to do that much damage to him, and he should be able to take him out in 2 or 3 hits, especially if he gets a little bit of ramming damage done. Not quite able to keep pinned against the wall there, possibly not trying to go for that. But he is able to get a massive hit through his rear armour there. Just going to follow him, just make sure he can't run away. And who was that? I think it was his teammate in the T-29 is able to finish him off. Spots out an M6 here, but the M6 thinks best of this move and decides to hide behind the ruined buildings instead. As you can see, losing heavily on this centre flank here, the enemy has decided to push in on the cap zone. And with the speed that's moving up, able to take out that M6 there fairly quickly. And as you can see, with the speed that that cap is moving up now, there is quite a lot of them in that cap zone. So Banana1728 deciding to do the smart thing here of just totally ignoring that M6. Just let one of his allies come up and finish him off, because this cap's already up to 80-something% now. So he's really got to get in there and get a shot on somebody as quickly as possible. Able to reset that at 96%. So doing a fantastic job there of making the right call and ignoring that M6 and getting straight in on the cap zone as quickly as possible. Enemy there probably biting their fingernails thinking they had this one all sewn up. But it looks like they've been able to get a hit on pretty much every tank now. So it should just be a case of hopefully keep them pinned in there and mop them up. It's another good hit on that KV-1S as his shot flies just over his head. Should just be one more shot, should be able to finish him off now, and there we go. So you've got the enemy pretty nicely pinned in now. There's not much they can do. They can't really push out because they're being flanked from the north and from the south. They've got nowhere to run, so they're pretty much just going to have to hold their position in the cap zone and try and repel the attackers here. But probably not going to be able to achieve that. Gets a massive hit through the side of that Tiger there. Not quite able to take him out. leaving him just on 12 hit points. So Banana's going to come out of his hiding place here, wants to get that kill on the Tiger because, let's face it, he deserves it. Just an IS left, and his platoon mate's able to pick that one up. So not a massive amount of kills there, only picking up 3, but showing some fantastic teamwork and some good decision making there from Banana. 1728. So brilliant replay. Thank you for sending that one in. Stick around because there's another one coming up in a second. And our next replay is from the user Colonel Cornell. That's Colonel Cornell, and he's drawn the captured S-35, or the Panzer S-35, on a standard battle on Westfield. And the Panzer S-35, or the captured S-35, is a Tier 3 premium medium tank for the Germans. So on to this game. He's going to be heading up on the hill to begin with. I'm going to speed this one up a little bit just because it's going to take him an age to get up there, because although this thing is a medium tank, it is pretty damn slow, especially when going up a steep gradient like that. As you can see, just hovering around the 10 and just under kilometers an hour whilst driving up the hill there. So this is just going to be a lower tiered game, as you can see, just 3s and 2s across the board, but it's still quite interesting and quite action packed, and I think you are going to enjoy it. So just taking up a medium tank position up on this hill. I'm going to be trying to spot anybody that he can coming along this far right hand flank, or anybody making a move on the viaduct in the centre here. Spots out a Panzer 38 here, so we're going to see if he can get a shot on him, but he fades back into the fog of war just before he's able to do anything about that. T-15 heads out onto the viaduct, hopefully going to try and get some spotting done. Respots that Panzer 38, who looks like he's going to be duelling with his T-46 here, and probably going to be getting the better of that one, to be honest. So a little bit slow to start here. He's going to be dropping back to try and get a shot on this Panzer 38. Unfortunately, he's going to be staying on the other side of those pillars because he's not really fancying his chances against that M2, and gets himself taken out. So there's a Panzer. What is that? It's a Panzer 3A on the other side of this viaduct. So he's going to use his immense speed and agility to move back to the top of this hill here and see if he can get a shot himself. Trust me, the action does heat up momentarily. It's just pretty slow to begin with. As a shot at that guy, but unfortunately the concentrated fire of his allies was able to take him out before he able to land his shell. Now, he did remember that there was somebody down in this village here. As you see, there's an M2 medium tank who's going to put some shells through his front plate, doing good bit of damage to him. That one unfortunately missed, and that one was soaked up by his track, but he's going to be able to get some more damage on him here, and one more shot should be able to finish him off. Ooh, that one just about bouncing, and that one just about penetrating. So able to pick up his first kill of this match against an M2 medium, and then takes out a second M2 medium over on the far right hand flank there. So a good bit of long distance sniping there. Spot out, is that the British medium 2? Looks like it is the British medium 3. So we're going to be able to get some good shots on this guy, doing some really long range sniping here. So if he starts moving, probably not going to be able to land any more shots, but it looks like his tracks have been eliminated. Going to fire into the fog of war and pick up his third kill of this match. So doing a good job of some long range sniping here, just firing again at that guy in the fog of war through the bushes to try and eliminate him. So it looks like they've got this right hand flank all sewn up now. Just going to have a couple of shots at this M3 Stuart. Letting his reticule close in all the way and picking his shot, but it looks like somebody else is able to take him out before his shot is even fired. So they've got this right hand flank all sewn up now, so he's going to be advancing towards the enemy's base and offering some support to their M2 medium that's down in the valley. Unfortunately, it looks like they have been losing quite significantly on that left-hand flank and in the north there. So someone's going to have to drop back, probably that T-15 to cover off the base. So all they have in there is 3 artillery pieces. So this one's pretty even at the moment at 8 kills to 8. Although it looks like all of the enemy forces are in that northern area now, moving in on the base. So he's going to have to do a quick 180-degree turn and head back towards the base to try and offer some assistance. As you can see, there's a T-46 and not quite sure what the other tank is, as he's just out of our view range. T-46 going to be trying to eliminate the artillery there, because the artillery not particularly good at defending itself in close quarters, and that T-46 is able to take out their first artillery piece. So that's an M3 light tank in the far north. T-15 looks like he's trying to have a shot, but being pretty ineffectual at the moment. That M3 medium tank going to be looping around and probably trying to take out the artillery, but he's got a shot on this T-46 here, so he's going to try and take it. Unfortunately, just not quite predicting the speed of the T-46 there. Hopefully, going to have a little bit more luck. Still not quite able to pick out the target. It's a good hit on the T-46 now, who decides to stop to fire at the artillery, which is probably going to prove to be a mistake. Should have kept moving there, even though he was shooting at the artillery, because he was under fire. When you're driving a light tank under fire and you stop, you're almost certainly going to die. As you can see, he's raging in the chat there. A little bit unjustified, but anyway, this M3 light tank's doing a good job of coming in and taking out the artillery, especially when our man Colonel Cornell gives him a hand there, getting a little bit of damage accidentally through the rear of that Sturmpanzer 2.
He's gone. Find another target.
But he's finally able to pick out the turret of that M3 medium tank and then eliminate him. The T-15 looks like he is dropping back to the base to offer some assistance to that Sturmpanzer and offer some defense. Spots out the artillery in the center there, while our man Colonel Cornell is apologizing for shooting the Sturmpanzer through the rear. Fades back into the fog of war, but he knows where he was, so he's going to have a couple of shots. Fingers crossed he can get him. Yes, he can. Able to pick up his 6th kill now of this match, taking out that Su-26, and as you can see, the artillery just landing behind him as he moves off. So don't even think he's taken a shot yet, let alone any damage. So the T-15 had himself going to be closing in on the base from 2 different angles. The T-15 coming through the center there, and the captured S-35 going to be moving in from this left-hand side. Spots out an enemy Covenanter in the center there, who's going to be focusing on this T-15. And that should leave our man Colonel Cornell to get some free damage through him. Unfortunately, not quite landing his first shot or his second shot, being a little bit tricky here.
Nice shot.
Third one right through his front armor. The Cruiser 4 deciding for some reason not to move. Not sure if the T-15 had taken his tracks out. I'm guessing he almost certainly had done, as he no tank's really going to sit around under sustained fire and just allow himself to be eliminated even at this early tier, I would have thought. So the artillery moving in on the Allied base, so their artillery is going to have to move off now and play peekaboo around those buildings. Going to speed it up a little bit because, as you've seen, this tank is painfully slow. Looks like the T-57 is able to take out that Sturmpanzer now, so he's got to play it very carefully as he's the last tank on the field. Spots out a Bison, knows that he's got enough time on that capture to be able to just have some free shots at him before the T-57 finishes the cap. Has some shots into the fog of war there as the Bison fades away and then reappears inside the cap zone. So we're going to see if he can get some damage through his rear armor now. Not that this thing has any armor to speak of. And this is going to be just like shooting fish in a barrel, as he's able to take out one Bison. Able to get some damage on the second Bison, and in fact take him out, moving through the fog of war. So some good work there. Just a T-57 left, and he's almost certainly moved out of the cap. Well, not almost certainly, he's definitely moved out of the cap zone now, as the timer has stopped ticking down. going to move out onto the viaduct. This is going to offer the best bit of spotting. Finds the T-57 up on the hill, able to take out his tracks, and this guy's nowhere, definitely not going to be able to get away from this one. Now, just one more shot is able to pick him off, picking up 10 kills. Don't even think he was shot at or had a shot bounce on him, let alone any damage done to him. So doing an immaculate job there, proving that the captured S-35 is a good tank despite its slow speed, slow agility. You can achieve great things when nobody focuses you down. So great replay there from Colonel Cornwall. Thank you very much for sending that one in. Stick around because there's another one coming right up.
Let's go.
And our next replay is from the user. Bear with me while I butcher the pronunciation of his name, Kampfzestora. That's Kampfzestora, and he's driving the M36 Jackson on a standard battle on Erlenberg. And that's right, a standard battle on Erlenberg. You don't see this one very often. One thing about being on this map, you normally see an encounter battle or... what's the other one? Attack or defense, whatever it's called. You normally see one of those game modes on this map, so the unit positioning can catch some people by surprise. So when you're advancing down one flank where you expect to run into the enemy, may not be where you actually run into the enemy because of the spawn locations. So normally the enemy team, especially on this one, the position they can get to along this left-hand flank here is different in a standard battle. So sometimes I think they can push all the way around that hill, and with the spawn positions they can't. Ooh! Finds a Panzer 38 NA there and gets a massive hit through his armour. Gonna have a shot into the fog of war to see if he can pick him up, but the Panzer 38, being the smart one, has almost certainly moved off from that spot because he doesn't want to take another hit like that. So his allies have come up to support now, and they're going to be pushing along this left-hand flank in force. As you can see, they've got a good contingent in the centre and a few tanks moving to the right-hand flank. Now, as you can see, this Panzer III pushing way too far forward. As I said, some people aren't quite sure where they're going to run into the enemy on a standard battle and push out a little bit too far. And Kampf there just punishing him for being overextended and picking up his first kill now of the match. He's going to try and find where his allies are around this corner. I'm going to see if he can pick up some easy damage on them. Finds a KV-1S. Not really going to be wanting to duel too much with him, so going to switch his attention to this T1 Heavy, who's way out of position there. He's not going to have the gun depression to be able to get on target without coming way out of position. But like I said, he doesn't really want to duel too much with this KV-1S because the cannon on that thing will tear him to pieces, especially only having 590 hit points. He's going to see, wait till he fires, and then he's going to poke his head out and get another bit of damage through the front of that 1S there. So nice little bit of play there. Now the enemy has decided to fall back down behind this second ridge here and probably just going to try and get the hell out of here. So the allies are just going to push on them even further. Going to see if we can get a shot through the top of that turret. But no, the armour of the KV-1S proving far too powerful and not able to get any damage. But his gun's reloaded and he is able to put some damage through that front plate. But like I said, he's going to want to fall back, try and use this hill as cover, but he's got way faster reload time than this 1S has. Didn't present himself as a target, so playing smart with that one, and he's able to pick up his second kill now. So it looks like the enemy has moved across that central bridge there and trying to start an early base capture. Definitely going for that one a little bit too premature, as the allies still had a considerable, sizable force in the centre there. Oh, and he's able to get a good hit through the side of that KV-1 there. But as you can see, the allies have a large force, a large contingent of tanks in that central region covering off the base. So the enemy definitely went for that base capture a little bit prematurely there. Going to see if he can spot out this M4 here. Not quite able to get a shot on him between the buildings. Ooh, able to get a fine shot through the building there, through the ruin of the shack, able to set him on fire as well. Not getting any damage on this KV-1 though, 0 damage critical, which is a little bit unfortunate. Going to see if we can try and maybe track him, but no, that one looked like it bounced on the top of the turret. So a little bit unfortunate there, and then the KV-1 looks like he gets himself into cover. Not really going to be able to find a shot on him there. Just having a shot anyway, just in case Lady Luck was smiling upon him. But it looks like she wasn't on this day, and that shot just missing. So the Allies pushing through very heavily on this northern flank there and containing the enemy in the central area. So it looks like teamwork is prevailing with this one so far. That KV-1 that he was shooting at earlier probably isn't going to be long for this world. Not quite able to get a hit on him thanks to the cover from the buildings. Yeah, there's going to be no shot that he can get on him there, but he's going to try and get a shot on somebody, but everybody looks like they are in cover. As we can see, another KV-220T there, the award for being a closed beta test. I'm not sure if that one was only given out on the Russian servers, as you don't really see many of them these days. But this is almost certainly not the Russian server, so... Oh, that KV-1 just getting out of firing, out of the line of fire, just in time to save his own life there. So the Allies are just going to push down along this river here. As you can see, teamwork working brilliantly here, pushing down on the... They pushed all the way up the left flank and across the north here, while the Allies held them in the centre and repelled that early base capture. And now they're just going to be able to pick them off as they are facing enemies from the front, enemies from the side, and enemies from the rear. They've basically cast the net around the enemy and then closed it off. So he's picked up his 3rd kill now of this match. Still sticking along this riverside here, as he doesn't know if the enemy has any tanks on that far right-hand flank. It looks like they actually haven't. Spots out a 3601 here, and he's going to wait for him to poke his head out. Hopefully get a bit of damage on him. The M4 moving forward, and unfortunately just blocking off his shot there. If that M4 wasn't in range, probably could have gotten a good bit of damage and taken probably half of his remaining hit points off. But it looks like that 3601's not stupid, and he's not going to put himself out into harm's way for nothing. So he's just going to sit behind the building there and probably find somebody else to shoot at, because let's face it, there are plenty of targets on the map for him to shoot at. So he's going to be pushing down with his KV-1S now, but it looks like that M4 is pushed out now. And they're going to be able to take out that 3601, which will leave a Churchill Mark III, is that? And a KV-2. The Churchill Mark III is obviously... No, it's Churchill Mark 7, sorry. Not quite able to make out the markings at this distance. So it looks like the KV-2 obviously has that derp cannon, because if you're going to be driving the KV-2, that is the cannon that you want to fit. So it's got that massive 30-second reload on that cannon. So once he's seen him shoot, he knows he's going to be safe for 30 seconds. It's probably going to let him get at least 2 shots through the front there. Just going to be staying safe behind this building here and start off the base capture with that ELC over there. And if everything goes wrong, at least they've got that to fall back on. Able to get a good bit of damage through the side of the KV-2 there and set him on fire, but it looks like he probably had an automatic fire extinguisher, as that was ridiculously fast there. The KV-2 is able to take out the ELC, but with that 30-second reload, there's going to be nothing else he can do, and Kampf was able to get a shot through his side, finish him off, and pick up his 4th kill now of this match. So now we're going to focus on this Churchill Mark 7, but it looks like the Churchill is, well, I was going to say he's nicely hidden behind the ruins of the building there, but he's decided to push out now and try and do what he can to defend the base and take out the remaining 3 tanks. Unfortunately, gets himself set on fire and eliminated. So amazingly, Kampf able to pick up his 5th kill there on that Churchill Mark 7 by setting him on fire. So a fantastic bit of teamwork there and coordinated play, and a good bit of individual skill from Kampfzerstörer there, driving the M36 Jackson. Thank you for sending that replay in, and stick around because there's another one coming right up.
Let's go.
Our next replay is from the user Crapper. That's Crapper, spelled with a 3, not an E. And he's driving the VK3601 on a standard battle on Fisherman's Bay. 3601 being the tier 6 medium for the Germans. Fisherman's Bay being one of those maps that you don't really see very often these days, but it leads to some good opportunities if you know how to play it correctly. So first off, our man here is going to be heading down into the town around this right-hand flank here. I'm going to be seeing who he can spot out, getting in there pretty quickly, as this thing does have a decent speed once you've gotten up there. It doesn't have fantastic acceleration, but it has a decent speed when you've got the upgraded engine, and especially when you're going downhill. So not seeing anybody at the moment. Normally you can probably pick out a light tank trying to fly across this this little avenue here early on, but it looks like, oh, there we go, spots out a Type T-34, who unfortunately bounces on the front of the 3601, so switches his target. Oh, not quite able to get a second hit on him there, the first one doing a good bit of damage though, so our man just going to be covering off the area. Has another shot just in case somebody else is hiding there in the fog of war without firing. Waits for the Hertzer and the T-49 to move up along the avenue here. I'm just going to follow in behind them. Let them... They obviously seem keen on rushing towards the enemy line, so just let them go first. Going to see if he can get some flanking on this T-34, but it looks like he's moved now behind into the other street. Finds a 38 NA here. Lets us go and lock on a target. Takes out his... Does he take out his tracks, or is he just refusing to move? Not quite sure, but he is able to pick up the kill on that 38 NA for his first one of this match. So now he's going to try and flank around behind this Type 34, which is dueling with the T-49. It looks like he may have already taken out that Hertzer, or as the Hertzer decided to go somewhere else. He's able to pick up the kill and rescue the T-49 there. So it looks like that Hertzer didn't die. It looks like he actually decided to go and flank around with the 3601 of Crapper here. Looks like they're not doing particularly well in the centre across this ridge, so he's going to be heading up the road and into the buildings to offer some support to his allies in this central area and on that left-hand flank, because the left-hand flank looks all but lost now. Enemy looking like they are winning fairly significantly there, although they have pushed through pretty heavily on that right-hand flank with 3 tank destroyers moving in on the enemy base. If he can let his reticule close in. Oof! Not quite able to get a hit on this M7 Priest. Can he try and predict the speed? Oof. That one, only able to see the top half of the M7 Priest there, so not able to get him. Fingers crossed this one, yes it can, able to pick him up for his 3rd kill of the match. A pretty good hit there. And another pretty good hit, hitting 2 tanks, moving at speed over a decent distance and picking up 2 quick kills in a row there for his 4th now. So the enemy looks like they are pushing on that left-hand flank and through the centre here now. So he's going to have to be pretty careful. Going to see if he can get a pick on this 3601. Looks like somebody's been doing all the work and he's coming in and going to be playing clean-up crew.
They're knocked out.
And finding who he can that was pushing on this left-hand flank and trying to eliminate them as quickly as possible. So it looks like his allies are moving in on the enemy base now, going to be starting off a capture. And he's going to be continuing to play clean-up crew in the central area of this map, although it looks like the T-28 was able to pick up the kill on that one. Although finds an AT-8. You're going to have to be very careful with this because he's got to try and get these shots through that top turret there, or else he's not going to be able to get any damage on this guy with that ridiculous 203 front armor. So he's going to have to really fall back and play it pretty carefully here and make that AT-8 come to him. With an AT-8 you want to fight at distance rather than up close, as up close they should be easily able to pick out the weak spots of that frontal armor. Gets a good hit on this AT-2 here. Going to see if he can pick up another one, and yes he can, and picks up his 6th kill now of this match. The game's still pretty close as well at 13 kills to 12. It's been fairly close all the way through this game, but it looks like the push that those 3 tank destroyers made on the base there has now been repelled, and all 3 of them have been taken out of the game, which leaves just our man Crapper here and that T-28 from earlier, which is kind of languishing around about in their base. Probably going to be playing some base defense. So spots out a Panzer 3-4. Going to see if he's got the damage and the ability to take him out. Not quite able to get a hit on him as he disappears behind those buildings there, using the shape of the terrain to his advantage and just dropping back down behind the terrain there. Enemy Hertz are coming in and going to be trying to play it, run around these buildings with him. Going to see if he's got the traverse. Ooh, going to look like he was trying to take out his tracks there, but not quite able to do that. But he is able to get a good bit of damage on him. Trying to move while in sniper mode, not really recommended, but luckily he's able to get a second shot on him and eliminate him before he's able to do the same to him. Eliminate the Hertz before the Hertz is able to do the same thing to him. But that does leave him all on his own to take out this AT-8 and this Panzer III-4. The only saving grace is he knows that the Panzer III-4 and the AT-8 are pretty heavily damaged, although he has lost almost half of his hit points as well. Oh, the AT-8 picking the wrong place to stop there and getting a shot through the weak spot of his armour. Not sure why he hasn't returned fire yet, but he's got to be slightly worried by this one. The Panzer III-4 comes up as well to offer his assistance. Going to see which one comes around the corner at first. It's going to be a little bit nail-biting here, facing off against two enemies. Either one of them will be able to eliminate him with a couple of good shots, it would look like. But hopefully he can pick out the weak spot of the AT-8 just as he comes over the hill, and he's able to take him out of the battle. Now it's just himself versus this Panzer III-4. He should have the damage to be able to take him out. In fact, he's only got 127 hit points, so he should be able to just tank the shot. In fact, runs down the building and takes him by surprise, eliminating him there with a fine shot, picking up 9 kills in that match. So absolutely brilliant showing there from Crapper, driving the VK3601. Thank you for sending that replay in. Thank you to you guys for watching. Don't forget to leave me a like if you enjoyed this video. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of the individual replays, and I will catch you next time.